Ever wondered where those little bubbles in your sourdough bread actually come from? Or, what gives kimchi that amazing kick? Well, today we're diving into this incredible, invisible world that, it creates some of our absolute favorite foods. So, welcome. We're going to explore how you can build a menu made of microbes.
So, let's just jump right in with a kind of wild idea. What if your entire meal, I'm talking everything from start to finish, could be made by microbes? Yeah, I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But let's see just how close to that reality we already are.
Now, before your mind jumps to a sterile science lab with bubbling beakers, just think about your own fridge for a second. That loaf of bread you have, the yogurt for breakfast, that block of cheese, yep, they're all made with help from this amazing microbial world. In a way, these tiny little organisms are already your personal chefs, working away behind the scenes.
Okay, so let's get into it, starting with probably the most ancient and familiar method out there. We're talking about fermentation, a truly ancient art. It's all about tapping into the power of living food.
So, what's the secret sauce here? Well, a lot of the time, it all comes down to something called lactofermentation. It sounds technical, but it's really not. It's just a process where these friendly little bacteria, the lactobacillus gang, they basically munch on the sugars in the food, and what they leave behind is lactic acid. That's the stuff that gives pickles their tang and sauerkraut its awesome sour flavor. And the coolest part? It naturally preserves the food too. And this isn't just a one-trick pony. This process is happening all over the globe. I mean, you go to Korea, and lactobacillus is hard at work turning cabbage into that spicy, bubbly kimchi we all love. Then hop over to Japan, and a totally different microbe, Bacillus subtilis, is transforming soybeans into the very unique natto. And then right back in our own kitchens, a sourdough starter is like a bustling city of wild yeasts and bacteria, all working together to make those gorgeous, airy holes in a perfect loaf of bread. Different microbe, completely different food. It's incredible.
You know, that really just nails it, doesn't it? Fermentation transforms food while revealing its richness. It's more than just changing the food. It's like it unlocks a depth of flavor that was hiding inside all along, just waiting for the right moment to come out.
But hey, fermentation is just the beginning. It's just one piece of this amazing puzzle. So next up, let's broaden our horizons and talk about growing your own vitality. And you'll see just how surprisingly simple home cultivation can be.
Okay, this is where your kitchen literally turns into a garden. On one hand, you've got germination. We're talking about getting these super nutrient-packed radish or lentil sprouts in just a matter of days, with nothing but water. And then there's something maybe even easier. Regrowing your vegetable scraps. You know the bottom of that bunch of celery or an onion you were about to toss in the compost? Just put it in a little bit of water, and seriously, it will sprout new life. You get a second harvest for free. It is so satisfying and a great way to cut down on waste. And get this, you absolutely do not need a big backyard to do any of this stuff. You can create the perfect little microclimate right there on your countertop. With a simple mini greenhouse, you could be picking fresh basil for your pasta, or, edible flowers for a fancy salad, even when it's snowing outside. How cool is that?
All right, so we've covered the ancient stuff. We've covered the super accessible stuff. Now, let's get a little weird. Let's get experimental and peek into the future. Welcome to the kitchen of tomorrow, where science fiction is becoming a countertop reality.
Now, we're talking about a really futuristic concept, growing food with no soil at all. It's called hydroponics, and it's simpler than it sounds. With just water and light, you can have fresh lettuce, all kinds of herbs, growing right there on your windowsill. I mean, yeah, it looks like a prop from a sci-fi movie, but it's a totally real and surprisingly easy technique you can do right at home.
And believe me, it gets even more adventurous from there. You can actually cultivate your own mushrooms on the counter. Or what about growing your own nutrient-dense algae, like spirulina? The source material even talks about space-inspired cultures, which is just wild to think about. That could be anything from super efficient little algae farms, like the ones designed for astronauts, to maybe even new proteins developed for deep space missions. It's really all about being playful and just exploring a little bit of biotechnology in your own kitchen. But what's so fascinating to me is how all this futuristic stuff loops right back around to ancient wisdom. I mean, can you imagine growing plants that naturally smell like cola or taste like apples? Or what about reviving these ancient monastic food traditions using recipes from like the year 1132? It just goes to show you that innovation isn't always about inventing something brand new. A lot of the time, it's about rediscovering something timeless.
Whoa! Okay, so we've taken quite a journey, right? From ancient sourdough starters all the way to futuristic space algae.
So let's bring it all home and wrap this up. Let's talk about the big takeaway from all this. What does having a living pantry really mean, and why should you care?
So, what's in it for you? Well, for starters, it's ecological. You're cutting down on waste. It's definitely economical. You're saving money. You're getting this amazing vitality from having fresh, super nutrient-rich food right there when you need it. But honestly, more than anything, it's just common sense. It reconnects us to our food in a really fundamental way. Because at the end of the day, this is about so much more than just dinner. It really becomes a practice. It's a way to connect with your food every single day, a way to stay curious about the living world all around us. And it's a spark of creativity right in the heart of your home, your kitchen.
So from ancient ferments to these futuristic cultures, we've seen that there's this incredible potential just hiding in plain sight. Which really only leaves one question, doesn't it? What hidden world is waiting to be discovered in your kitchen?